Somebody paid $107,000 for a vehicle that's sitting on a lot 20 minutes from my shop right now, priced at $23,995. Same vehicle, 9 years later. That's not depreciation, that's a financial crime scene. And here's the part that keeps me up at night. Most of these six-figure SUVs are mechanically fine. After 22 years under the hood, I've figured out exactly which ultra-luxury SUVs you can steal for used Camry money, and which ones will eat you alive. Today I'm giving you all 7. Number 1, lost over $100,000 in value, and I'd still buy one tomorrow. Let's count them down. Number 7, the Maserati Levante S. Stay with me because I know what you're thinking. Maserati, Italian, money pit, and 5 years ago I would have agreed with you. But here's what changed my mind. A customer of mine, a dentist, bought a 2017 Levante S Grand Sport that stickered north of $95,000 when it was new. He paid $28,500 for it with 52,000 miles. He asked me to be his mechanic for it, and I told him, honestly, I'd never had one in my shop. That was 3 years ago. You know what I've done to it since? Brakes, tires, oil, and one parking brake actuator for about $600. That's it. Here's the detail that makes the Levante interesting. That 3.0-liter twin-turbo V6 under the hood is assembled by Ferrari and Maranello. It's not a Ferrari engine in the way the marketing people want you to believe, but the block architecture is shared with the engine family Ferrari built for the Quattroporte and Ghibli, and the thing sounds absolutely criminal at full throttle. It's bolted to a ZF 8-speed automatic, the same basic transmission family you find in BMWs, Audis, Jaguars, and Rams. That gearbox is one of the most proven automatics on the planet. The real Levante problems are electronic. Infotainment freezes, sensor faults, window regulators, and those parking brake actuators. Annoying? Yes. Catastrophic? No. What kills people is dealer pricing. Maserati dealers charge like they're still selling you a $100,000 car. Find a good independent Italian or European specialist and your costs drop by half. My inspection checklist, pull every service record and confirm the oil changes actually happened, cycle the parking brake 10 times and listen for grinding, run every window and every screen function twice, and check for uneven rear tire wear because these things eat rear tires when the alignment drifts. If it passes, you're driving a Ferrari adjacent exotic SUV for Honda Passport money. If it doesn't, walk. There are plenty of them out there because nobody wants them. Number 6, the Cadillac Escalade Platinum, a 2015 or 2016 Platinum stickered right around $90,000. And once buyers added the rear entertainment and dealer extras, plenty of these crossed 6 figures out the door. Today, I regularly see clean ones in the mid to high $20,000 range. And here's my hot take as a guy who fixes cars for a living. This is the most sensible vehicle on this entire list. Underneath all that leather and chrome, an Escalade is a Chevy Tahoe. The 6.2-liter V8 is a pushrod, naturally aspirated American engine that any mechanic in any town in this country can work on. Parts are everywhere. Labor is cheap. There's no exotic anything. Now, the honest problems, because there are 3. First, active fuel management. That cylinder deactivation system can wear out lifters, and a lifter job runs $2,500 to $4,000. Listen on a cold start for ticking, and if you buy one, a lot of owners install a disabler to keep the engine in V8 mode. Second, the 8-speed transmission in the 2015 to 2017 trucks had a torque converter shutter issue. GM's fix was a fluid change to a different spec. If it shutters on a light throttle around 30 to 45 miles per hour, negotiate $500 off and do the fluid service. Third, magnetic ride control shocks. Fantastic ride, but $800 to $1,200 per corner when they leak. Look for dampness on the shock bodies during inspection. None of that scares me because everything on this truck is fixable at normal people prices. Who should buy it? Anyone towing a boat, hauling a family, or wanting genuine, full-size American luxury with a drivetrain your local shop understands. Who should skip it? Anyone who parks in a city. This thing is a building. Number 5, the BMW X5M. The F85 generation 2015 to 2018, this monster stickered at $99,000 base, and most of them left the dealer well past $110,000. It has a 4.4-liter twin-turbo V8 making 567 horsepower, 0 to 60 in about 4 seconds flat, in a 5,000-pound SUV. That is physics-insulting performance. And clean early ones now trade in the high 20,000s to low 30,000s if you're patient. I'll be straight with you, this is the highest risk, highest reward vehicle on this list. That S63 engine is a masterpiece, but it's a masterpiece with homework. The known issues: plastic charge pipes that can crack under boost, about $400 to fix properly with aluminum replacements. Valve stem seals on higher mileage examples, which show up as puffs of smoke on startup after the car sits. That's a job costing more than $4,000, so if you see smoke, run. Injectors and coil packs as wear items. And it wants premium fuel and real oil changes every 5,000 miles, not BMW's fantasy 10,000 mile intervals. Here's my rule for the X5M, and it applies to every performance German on this list. The service history is the car. A $32,000 example with a folder full of receipts is worth more than a $26,000 example with nothing. Every time. I've seen guys save $5,000 on the purchase and spend $9,000 in the first year. The cheap one is never the cheap one. Who's this for? The enthusiast who wants supercar acceleration with room for a golf foursome, has a $3,000 a year maintenance budget, and knows a good independent BMW shop. If that last part isn't true, keep scrolling. Number 4, the Range Rover Sport Supercharged. The full-fat 5.0-liter V8 version, 510 horsepower, stickered in the $93,000 to $110,000 range, depending on options. And the market has absolutely abandoned it. KBB puts a 2016 supercharged at a resale value around $15,700, with private party values in the $14,000 to $17,000 range, 15 grand, for a 510 horsepower luxury flagship that embarrassed sports cars when it was new. Cars.com. Why so cheap? Reputation. And I'm not going to lie to you, some of it is earned. The early 5.0 supercharged engines had timing, chain guide issues, mostly 2010 to 2012. By this 2014 and up generation, that was largely sorted, but you still inspect for it. Listen cold start for a rattle in the first 2 seconds. Silence is golden. Rattle means walk away, because that job is $3,000 or more. The other known items: the supercharger nose cone coupler wears and makes a rattle at idle, about a $500 fix, and honestly a DIY job for a handy owner. Plastic coolant crossover pipes buried in the engine valley that eventually leak, a $1,200 to $1,800 repair that I'd just budget for as preventive maintenance. And the air suspension, where compressors and struts are consumables after 100,000 miles. So why is it on my list? Because when you buy one at $16,000 to $22,000 instead of $95,000, you have a repair budget baked into the price. Spend $20,000 on the truck, set aside $5,000 for the first 2 years, and you're still driving one of the best looking, best driving luxury SUVs ever made for the price of a base Corolla. That supercharged V8 sounds like weather. The seating position is a throne. There's a reason these were parked outside every 5-star hotel on earth. Quick pause. If you're finding this useful, hit subscribe. I've got a whole video coming on the luxury cars mechanics refuse to own, and trust me, some of the badges on that list will surprise you. Okay, top 3. Number 3, the Porsche Cayenne Turbo, the 958 generation. This thing based at $113,000 and optioned examples cleared $135,000 easily. A 4.8-liter twin-turbo V8, 500 horsepower, and this is the part nobody expects: genuine Porsche build quality. Early 2013 and 2014, turbos have now slipped into the high $20,000 range. And here's my professional opinion: This is the best engineered vehicle on this entire list. The first generation Cayenne from the 2000s earned a scary reputation with plastic coolant pipes and drive shaft bearings. The 958 fixed most of it. What I see in my shop on these coolant leaks from the water pump and thermostat housing around 80,000 to 100,000 miles, call it $800 to $1,200. Transfer case wear on earlier builds, which shows up as a shutter on light acceleration. That's the big one to test for because it's a $3,000 repair. And the usual German consumables, control arms, engine mounts, plastic bits that age. But the core drivetrain, that 4.8 twin turbo paired with the Eisen 8-speed automatic, is legitimately robust. I know two of these locally over 150,000 miles on original engines and transmissions. Porsche doesn't really build fragile engines, they build expensive ones. There's a difference. My test drive protocol: from a stop, roll into the throttle gently in second gear and feel for any shudder or vibration around 1,000, 200 to 1,500 revolutions per minute. That's the transfer case talking. Then get it hot, park it, and look underneath for coolant. Then check every service stamp. A Cayenne Turbo with dealer or specialist history at $29,000 is one of the great performance bargains in the world right now. You're getting a vehicle that laps racetracks and tows 7,700 pounds for the price of a used RAV4 hybrid. Number 2, the Mercedes-Benz GLS 550. And this is the one from my opening. These stickered around $100,000. I've seen listings note original MSRPS of $107,000 with $13,000 in added options. And right now, 2017 examples are listed between roughly $18,000 and $24,000, depending on miles. That is an $80,000 haircut on Mercedes's flagship SUV, the S-Class of SUVs they called it, JD Power, hot cars. Here's what makes the GLS 550 my number 2 instead of a warning. The engine. That 4.7-liter twin turbo V8, the M278, is one of the better V8s Mercedes built in the modern era. It doesn't have the balance shaft problems of the old V6s. It doesn't have the timing chain nightmares of some rivals. And it makes 449 horsepower while moving a 3-row aircraft carrier to 60 in about 5 seconds. I've got customers with these engines past 150,000 miles on nothing but fluids and plugs. The two things you're actually inspecting: airmatic suspension and electronics. The air struts are consumables. Figure $1,500 to $2,000 per corner, installed when they go, usually after 100,000 miles. On your test drive, park the truck, watch it for 10 minutes, and see if any corner sags. Start it cold and listen for the compressor running longer than 30 seconds. Then sit in the driver's seat and touch every single button, because a full boat GLS has about 400 of them, and used luxury electronics are guilty until proven innocent. Who should buy this? Families. Full stop. This is a genuine 7-seater where the third row fits actual adults, with a twin turbo V8, massaging seats in some examples, and a ride quality that makes a Tahoe feel like a farm implement. You're getting 90% of a new $100,000 experience for the price of a used Honda CR-V. The badge still opens doors. Nobody at the valet stand knows what you paid, and that's the entire game with this list. Which brings us to number 1. Number 1, the Range Rover, the full-size flagship, the L405, supercharged and autobiography trims that stickered between $104,000 and north of $140,000 when new. And right now, today, 2016 supercharged models with 60,000 to 75,000 miles are sitting on major retail sites between $23,990 and $28,990, including full autobiography models. Cars.com puts the nationwide average for a 2016 supercharged V6 model around $18,000, with examples starting near $14,500. Cars.com. Let that sink in. a vehicle that cost as much as a house down payment, the SUV of royalty of billionaires, the default vehicle of every luxury hotel fleet on the planet, for less than a new Nissan Sentra. Now here's where I earn my paycheck, because the Range Rover is number one for two reasons. It's the single biggest luxury per dollar play in the entire used market. And it's also the one where the difference between a great buy and a disaster is entirely in the inspection. So I'm going to give you everything. First, know your engines. The 3-liter supercharged V6 and the 5-liter supercharged V8 share DNA, and both are strong when maintained. The V8 is the one you want for the full experience, 510 horsepower, and that noise. The failure points I check in order. 1. Timing chain, cold start, first 3 seconds, any rattle. Same rule as the Range Rover Sport, rattle equals walk. 2. The supercharger coupler, a light metallic rattle at warm idle from the top of the engine. Cheapish fix, great negotiating tool, knock $500 off. 3. Coolant. These engines bury plastic coolant pipes in hot places. Look for crusty pink residue anywhere in the engine valley. And check the coolant reservoir level and color. Budget for the crossover pipe job as preventive care. 4. Air suspension. Same drill as the Mercedes. Watch it sit. Corners that sag overnight mean struts or valve block. $1,200 to $2,500. Depending. 5. Electronics. Every window, every seat motor, the split tailgate, the folding mirrors, the infotainment. Cycle everything twice. The screen should respond, not think about responding. 6. And this is the one nobody does, check for water. Pull the spare tire well liner and feel for moisture. Check the headliner around the sunroof. These have big panoramic roofs with drains that clog, and water plus British electronics is how a $25,000 Range Rover becomes a $6,000 Range Rover. Now, who should actually buy one? Someone going in with clear eyes. Buy the best documented example you can find, not the cheapest. Budget $2,500 to $3,500 a year for maintenance, and don't act surprised when you spend it. Find an independent Land Rover specialist before you buy, not after. Do that, and here's what you get. The most commanding seating position in the industry, an interior that still shames vehicles being sold new today, a supercharged V8 soundtrack, real off-road ability you'll never use, and the strange, genuine pleasure of driving the same vehicle as people who paid 5 times what you did. And who should skip it? Anyone who needs their vehicle to be an appliance. If a warning light on the dash ruins your week, buy the Escalade from earlier in this list and live happily. The Range Rover is not an appliance. It's a relationship. A gorgeous, occasionally expensive relationship that you can now enter for $25,000 instead of $125,000. So there's your list. The Maserati Levante with its Ferrari-built heart, the Escalade Platinum, 6-figure luxury with pickup truck repair bills, the BMW X5M, a 567 horsepower lunatic for the disciplined buyer, the Range Rover Sport, supercharged that the market priced like a rumor, the Porsche Cayenne Turbo, the engineer's pick, the Mercedes GLS 550, the family flagship at 90% off the experience, and the full-size Range Rover, the single greatest badge per dollar purchase in the used market today. Here's the truth underneath all of it. Depreciation doesn't measure how good a vehicle is, it measures how scared buyers are. And when you know exactly what to inspect, the cold start rattles, the sagging corners, the shutters, and the water stains, that fear becomes your discount. If you want the flip side of this video, the luxury SUVs I'd never touch at any price, I've got that one coming next, so subscribe and turn on notifications. Like the video if it saved you from a bad buy or pointed you toward a great one. That's 22 years of watching 6-figure SUVs roll into my shop, some as trophies and some as cautionary tales. Drive safe, buy smart, and always, always pay for the inspection. I'll see you in the next one.